welcome once again to Scorpion Cigar Reviews. Today begins my trek to bring to you my 2016 Cigar of the Year, referred to as C.O.T.Y, C-O.T.Y. I have selected for this year's C.O.T.Y Awards 4 cigars that I've smoked several times throughout 2016, and have found these cigars to be of utmost quality, excellent price point, superb construction, great flavors, consistent, readily available, and yes, and while there were some latecomers, I didn't add them, only because I didn't get a fair chance to be tried throughout the year, checked for consistency, and everything else. But without any further ado, here we have the 2016 offerings for the Cigar of the Year from the Scorpion. In no particular order, I'm going to choose one. This is the PDR 1878 Cubano Especial Capa. This is a Toro 6x52 cigar. I'm going to close up the C.O.T.Y humidor. Until the next review. So I purchased this cigar at my local tobacconist in Roanoke, Virginia. Milan Tobacconist on Jefferson Street. Great shop. This cigar retails for $6.80 before taxes and all that other mumbo jumbo. Has an Ecuadorian Connecticut shade wrapper, Criollo 98, Dominican Criollo 98 binder, and Dominican and Nicaraguan fillers. Has a pigtail cap. Good weight, so it's got a good pack to it. It feels solidly packed without being rock hard or anything. It's got a very light brown color to it, almost coffee with a ton of cream in it. Yeah, the pack feels pretty even throughout. I'm not finding any soft spots, not feeling any stems sticking through. Looks great. Tight seams, some small veins, nothing big, no big deal. Noses of some various animal scents. It's not my hands. Strange. I don't remember smelling this scent on there before. Smells like dirty animals. Not necessarily barnyard, but and not necessarily in a bad way. Just interesting. A little bit of leather in there. Hint of spice way in the back. All right. Foot. Definitely some leather, some spice. Feel the tickle. A little dough. It almost reminds me of fermenting wine. The first stages where you mash up the grapes and you have your primary fermentation where you're letting the color come from the skins into the juice, and there's an odor in the air. So I'm associating it with that because I'm very familiar with that. Someone else may say, no, it smells like something totally different to them. But for me, that's what I'm reminded of. All right. Fat Molly's joining me today. The white scorpion. Bony white scorpion. Use my Cigar guillotine cutter. No need to take too much off. I don't recommend using the pigtail cap for the purpose of cutting your cigar. Nothing good will ever come from ripping the cap off of a cigar, even if it has a pigtail designed theoretically for that purpose. I do not recommend it. Pre-light has a lot of leather. Oh, tons of leather in there. A little bit of dry wood. Subtle hints of spice. Maybe some very, very subtle hints of barnyard lingering way, way in the back. Guess what's back there. But the big news here is leather. Lots of leather. Very forward. Alright, so I'm going to get this toasted up and lit up, and I'll see you in a moment. Give that a shot. Initially, there's kind of a medium pepper note. Some other kitchen spices in the background. It's not one of those pepper notes that is like a punch in the face. It's there. It's a little softer, which I prefer. Don't get me wrong, I don't have anything against pepper, but when you get that pepper and that spice that just feels like you got punched in the nose, it's a bit much for me. Alright, we're going to let this heat up, and we'll come back somewhere in the first third. See you in a bit. Here we are about 30 minutes in. I've ashed it a couple times. Air light's pretty low. I've ashed it a couple times. It's broken off into a nice point each time. However, it took a little coaxing, not too much, to get the ash to come off. But I don't see this being one of those cigars that you're going to get 2 inches worth of ash before you got to worry about it. It broke off kind of misformed, and it fell apart when it landed in the ashtray. So the ashes don't hold together in nice big chunks. No big deal, just something to keep in mind. In this first third, I've picked up, kind of early on, I definitely had that pepper note. And there was a mineral note started coming through, and that was kind of the mainstay. now I'm getting a little bit of like a dry cedar way in the back of the palate. I'm getting a lot of influence on my palate from this coffee porter. That coffee note is really lingering around. Now with that, this cigar also should have some subtle coffee notes to it, but I think this Imperial Porter is overpowering the coffee I'm getting from the cigar. But at the same time, because that lingers so much, I'm still getting that coffee note, but I'm not getting it directly from the cigar. And there's an earthy mineral note way on the rear of the palate, but it's very thick, pretty dominant. A little something else just starting to come through. I'll come back in the second, third, and see how the cigar opens up. See you in a bit. So here we are, just about 50 minutes in. I'm well into the second, third, approaching the secondary band. Cigar's starting to balance out nicely, really. Those flavors are starting to come forward. There were some that seemed to have been kind of locked up, hiding in the background somewhere. I'm still getting kind of like an earthy mineral. Getting like a soft, like a white pepper note, and there's a grilled meat note that's starting to show itself. A little bit of coffee in there. Not as much leather as I had experienced with the numerous other samples I've had of this throughout the year, but I think that the coffee porter is subduing the leather notes that I have typically found to be in this cigar. I'm going to go ahead and remove that secondary band. The burn, as you can see, isn't perfectly even. It's a little bit uneven, not too bad, but it's a crisp burn line still. That pepper note mixed with the earthy minerals, you'll find way in the rear of the palate. It lingers in the rear of the palate. It stays there like forever. To the next draw, the next draw, and the next draw. It's always there. It hasn't gone away. All right, I'm going to keep smoking this. I'll come back in the final third. See you in a bit. Here we are, just about an hour in. The secondary band came off without any issues at all. The primary band, when it came off, right at the last little bit, stuck to the wrapper right there and pulled off a chunk of the wrapper. And as you can see, it's done some damage. I've had to lick it and try to keep it to stay on, and it seems to be smoking fine, but it's quite annoying when that happens. So obviously I deducted some points in the label application section of my score sheet. This final third really seems to be the highlight of the cigar. It's balanced out quite nicely. It's very refined. Burning cool. you know, it's warmed up a little bit, but it's still burning fairly cool. Now, there's been some minor changes in the flavor profile, much to the benefit of the cigar. I'm definitely picking up some grilled meats, the earthy minerals, that soft white pepper is still there. I'm picking up a soft, dry cedar note. Very pleasant, nothing real forward, real overbearing, really in your face. It's just everything's just really nicely balanced. All the flavors are complementing each other very nicely. Very nice cigar right here in the final third. Even with the damage to the wrapper leaf. It's doesn't really seem to be a big problem for it. It's burning just fine. It's not, you know, not unraveling any further at the moment. Doesn't seem. Still happy with it. The ash is kind of starting to flower a little bit, a little loose and flaky. I've noticed several pieces that have fallen on my shirt. I'm going to continue smoking this. I'll come back in the nub with my final thoughts and impressions and a score. See you in a bit. Here we are in the nub. I've picked up, let's see, we are an hour and 15 minutes, almost an hour and 15 minutes in. In the nub, I've picked up an interesting floral note on the arrival and a slight scent of floral in the air. Very subtle, real interesting, real pleasing. I have some soft leather, white pepper note, maybe a little bit of grilled meat. Now when I say grilled meat, I'm talking grilled meat like on a charcoal barbecue. The charcoal has a different flavor that imparts onto the meat than you would get with a gas grill or even a wood fire. Real nice, real nice. What can I say about the cigar? Really, I can recommend this to anybody, whether you're a novice just starting off. This is a great cigar. It's got a great price point, $6.80 before tax at your local tobacconist. You might be able to find it a little bit cheaper at some of these online-only retailers. Maybe your local tobacconist might be a little bit more, a little bit less. You know, it varies anywhere you go. But my local shop was $6.80 before tax. Real good price point. The ash has been kind of loose and flaky. Takes a little coaxing to get it off, but when it comes off, it's you know, it's not a formed ash. It's not a solid chunk. It kind of falls off loosely, and it's just scattered all over in the ashtray. I've had a few flakes here and there that have fallen off, landed on my shirt. No big deal, but you know, smoking cigars is a dirty business. My only other complaint is that the primary band stuck to the wrapper leaf. When I took it off, pulled off a chunk of the wrapper leaf, and then it started to come apart a little bit. But it's held together. It didn't continue to fall apart and blow up and all kinds of crazy stuff like that. So not that big of a deal. It's a little annoying that that happened, but you know, it is what it is. So like I said, a novice could appreciate this at this great price point. Some nice flavors. It's nothing real forward, real powerful in your face. Everything's kind of subtle, very well balanced. It didn't start off real balanced, but about halfway through, things started to balance out a bit. The flavors started to complement each other. They started to blend a little bit instead of being individual flavors that were very defined and very separated. So as they started to kind of blend together, become more smooth and refined and well balanced, I think a novice could really appreciate that. At the same time, an experienced aficionado could once again appreciate the relatively low price and the flavor profile. Keeps the cigar, as I mentioned, smooth and well balanced. If you're one of those people that like a really strong, really forward, peppery, that punch to the nose, you're not going to get that with this cigar. If you have a little more refined palate where you like things that are a little more subtle, a little more blended together, this is a great cigar for you. So yes, I could definitely recommend this to anybody. What did I score this cigar? 92.5 points out of 100. So I thank you for once again watching Scorpion Cigar Reviews. Catch you next time, and we'll see what happens with the other C.O.T.Y candidates.